Awesome. Great. Thank you very much. What we're going to do, so welcome to the Six Figure Sales Game, how to become a multi-six figure consultant. First, what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about me and the business and what we do. And then we'll get into some information and some specifics about how we can actually build those, become a multi-six figure consultant. So first things first is what I want to discuss is the principles and values by which, the Results Guy or our business was founded. And the reason I want to discuss that is because it's actually the principles that develop that multi-six figure outcome. And you can see them written right there on the screen in front of you. So Surge isn't just Surge, it's an acronym. It actually stands for something. And that thing that it stands for is the 5 core attributes or the 5 core principles that are required for you to build that six-figure business or that multi-six-figure business. Because it's all good to say a six-figure business, but everyone knows that could be 100 grand and 100 grand means 50 grand profit, but that's not what we want. But when you're talking about multi-six figures, you're talking about a different level. You're talking about a significant income and a significant increase in your lifestyle. And so there are 5 key principles and attributes that I believe, or we believe that the Results Guys, that you need to really build that multi-six figure business. The first one is self-belief. So the ability to solely believe in yourself, have that confidence and that conviction, right? That's going to carry you forward. But here's the thing. The most important thing is if you want someone to buy your products or services, if you want someone to decide to do business with you, if you aren't confident in what it is that you're selling, and you're not portraying that confidence or that conviction in what it is that you're selling, then how can they be confident and have confidence and conviction and certainty and buy your product or service? So that self-belief is an absolute necessity. I mean, the self-belief on another level is just that self-belief that you can achieve that multi-six figure business. Because if you don't have that self-belief that you can make it, that you can do it, that it can happen, then you will always give 90 or 80 or 70% effort rather than 100% of the effort or 110 and get yourself there. I mean, I had such a strong self-belief when I started my business that I got myself to a six-figure, not multi, but a six-figure business in a 4-month period. I got myself to that point where I was at that six-figure income. And then now it's just gone well beyond that. So the next thing is you need to understand sales. I mean, and that was a bit of an easier thing for me to do as a sales strategist and consultant. I already had that. And that ability to understand, have that fundamental understanding of how to sell, of understanding what numbers you need to process, understanding your sales process, your sales strategy. You need to have that understanding or the fundamental understandings of sales and how to do it and how to implement those things into your business. Because if you don't, then you can't capitalize on your leads and you can't convert your leads. And you know what? You can have all the leads in the world, but if you can't convert them, then it's a waste of time, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, the third one is you need to be results driven. So to be results driven is really simple. We need to stop focusing on the tasks that we need to do and start focusing on the results that we want to achieve. One of the very first things that I ever did was decide, what business do I want? Where am I going? What am I developing here? Am I just building a business and doing some stuff? Or do I want this multi-six figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure business? What's the end result here that I'm chasing? Now, you don't need to just do that on your business, but on your month-to-month revenues, on your month-to-month profits, on your month-to-month, how many sales do you need to achieve? How many people do you need to talk to? What's your outcome from your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn strategies? It all needs to be driven by results. And when we say results driven, it also needs to be you as a person need to be you want to be so deep-seated drive. You want to have such a deep-seated drive towards getting these results. And so once you've got those three, the fourth thing you need is the ability to have constant growth. Because if there's one thing I can tell you that relates to children in this world, having children, right? I've got 2 of them. Does anyone else here have children?
I got 3. Yep.
You got 3? All All right, the only thing that I can relate, and you'll probably relate to this, the only thing that I can relate to having children is running a business. It just doesn't end, right? It's just never ending, and it's constantly changing. As children get older, they change, and you've got to change your persona. You've got to change the way you parent them. You've got to change everything, right? And as you grow through business, everything changes all the time. Processes that worked yesterday don't necessarily work today. Marketing strategies that worked yesterday don't necessarily work today. That mindset that you had yesterday, maybe it needs to change for you to go to the next level. So constant growth is a necessity to get there. And then the final thing that is probably the most powerful requirement that you need is the right energy. And when I say the right energy, I don't mean like the woo-woo kind of energy. What I mean is that everyone has a level of energy that they live at, right? And everyone has a high energy and a low energy. And so whatever your version of high energy is, whatever your version of optimistic energy, or your version of I'm kicking ass energy, whatever your version of that is, you need to live there, right? Because it's that level of energy that you deliver to your business, that level of energy that you deliver to your clients, to your work. It's that is going to deliver that multi-six-figure business. It's that's going to deliver your growth, your results drive, your understanding of sales, and your self-belief, right? And so for you to surge your business, the 5 core principles that we start with, that we teach throughout all of our programs, are having that self-belief, a fundamental understanding of sales, the ability to drive results, the ability to grow, and the ability to have a high level of energy. If you do those things and nothing else, the rest will come. All right. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, me personally, my name's Andrew Komenos, and I am a sales results strategist and a performance strategist. So what I do is I actually help, well, I don't help, I take small business consultants, right? I take business consultants, or just consultants in general, B2B consultants, to the next level. I take them to a multi-six-figure business. How I do that is by using models, strategies, and an intuition that I've developed over 20 years of being in sales. You know, I started out as just a young, unmotivated person with no want to do anything, right? I remember actually going home to my dad's house with a girl one day, and I was probably 19 at the time, and she wasn't my girlfriend, she was just a girl. And what I said to her, I rocked in, I'm like, all right, my dad's pretty forward, so just be wary. Anyway, I walked in, and I was just picking up a bottle of whiskey because we're going to a party. And I walked into the house, and I said, hey dad, this is Alex. And my dad, being Greek, was sitting there with his friends having a cafe, and he goes, he looks at me, he goes, Andrea, what are you contributing to this world, eh? Right? And in that moment, I found all my motivation for life. I didn't really. That's not how it happened. But what actually happened was Alex gave me shit for the next 4 hours of my life. And then for the next 10 years, to this very day, my best friends all give me shit about that one thing that my father said 10 years ago. But here's the thing. You can only hear what are you contributing to this world so many times before it actually makes a difference on your life. Right? And so what happened is that one day I actually thought about it. I started thinking, what am I contributing to this world? And so I started to I got into sales. I started to look for a job that I actually liked. And I found this job that said, no experience needed, door-to-door selling. And I had exactly that, no experience. And I was so ready for that. So I got into that, and most people walk in there and they see people chanting and clapping and going crazy and run the other direction and leave in a week. I did that for a year because I loved selling. Throughout that time though, I started to take notes in a diary, in a sales journal every day about sales that I missed, sales that I gained. I started to develop models that would work. I started to figure out why I was good at it, why I was bad at it. I started doing research, reading books, doing a billion different things because I actually just had a passion for figuring out why are people buying from me, right? You see, you know, we look at these webinars here, and this is something I don't usually say in webinars, but I'll say it now, right? But you look at this webinar here, and there's 2 people in this webinar, right? And the average business that gets 2 people in a webinar or 3 people in a webinar wouldn't survive. They wouldn't be able to make it work, right? But I don't need the webinars to be, I want the webinar to go to 30, 40, 50, 60 people so that I can have my multi-7-figure business, right? But to have a multi-6-figure business, the webinar isn't the requirement, right? It's the ability to understand how to package and price things and then convert them across the line. And I did so much research on that I learned how to do that. And then I moved into managing a couple of phone stores. And then from there, I moved into and found my home for 5 years, Godfrey's. If everyone here knows Godfrey's, I take it. You too? Godfrey's? All right. So whereabouts are you based, Greg?
I'm in Logan Lee, about halfway between Gold Coast and Brisbane.
Wow, great. So Alden's on the Gold Coast. I'm in, you're in Logan, Logan Lee. And so you're closer to Alden. I'm in Dayber in the middle of fucking nowhere. So what I did effectively is I learned to channel. So basically I found Godfrey's, and within 2 weeks of being at Godfrey's, I was actually the best salesperson there. And then, well, within 2 weeks, I was the best salesperson. Within 5 weeks, I'd broken pretty much every record they had. And it's not because I was so amazing. It's just because I was in love with what I was doing. And everyone has the ability to do it. But from there, I became a manager, an area manager, and then I became actually the national sales trainer for the entire company. And from there, I left and became the director of sales for a couple of different companies. All the while, the most important thing that I was thinking to myself was this: what am I contributing to the world? And anyone that has known me for a long time, anyone that's known me for years or known me since I was young, is all I've ever wanted to do is start my own business, because I actually want to give back. And I've had in the last, to give you an idea of why I do what I do, you know, I have 3 core values in my life or in my business. One is being authentic and genuine. That's it. I'm just me. Anything I tell you, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I've got this huge 7-figure business. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the most successful person ever. I will give you the absolute truth of everything, right? The second thing for me is results, because I don't give a shit about anything else in my business other than getting my clients results. Anyone that knows me knows that. Like, that's it. I care about your results, not mine. Right? And then thirdly, the third thing that I care about is, you know, spreading optimism, joy, and happiness, right? Other than those 3 things, they're my total core values, right? Because for me, you know, so for me, when I was at the end of my, I suppose, corporate career, I was thinking, am I really contributing to the world the way that I want to contribute? And I realized I wasn't. And the only way to do that was to get into business and help small business owners, right? Or small business owners, and now it's really niched down to consultants, to really grow their businesses and build successful businesses so that they weren't struggling. Because up there in those corporate lights where everything is easy and no one worries about money, I was noticing all the small business owners struggling, and I wanted to help them. So that's what I do now, effectively, is give sales results coaching to take your business to a multi-6-figure business. Right. And what is this about? Well, this is going to be about whatever the hell we deem necessary to take your business to the next level, because there's only a few of us, and we're going to change it up today and do whatever you guys need. So what usually is in this workshop is simple. When we talk about having your surge system, so the first thing, obviously, we need self-belief, and we need an understanding of sales is the second thing. That's the you, right? And so to do that, you actually need to have a sales process in place. If you don't have a sales process in place and you don't know how to write one, right, then that's the first fundamental missing piece of your business. Because here's the thing, if you lined up 100 people in a line, right, and you did something different to every single one of them, what's the likelihood, do you think, that you get results?
Yeah.
Not very likely, right?
Yeah.
But what if you lined up this 100 people and did the exact same thing to every single one and just factored in their personality when you did it?
Yeah.
Suddenly you're going to get a bunch of people that just say yes, a bunch of people that say maybe, and a bunch of people that just say no. And then your only job is to increase the yeses and decrease the no's.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And so we need a sales process that's effective in getting us those yeses. The next one is how important questions are in sales and how to use them. What I tend to find is the average person knows or believes that they know how to ask questions really, really well. But what I tend to find is that they really don't, right? People think they know how to ask questions because they've been asking questions of all their friends all their life, right? But the truth is they've actually been asking, the truth is they've been asking questions with no result, with no outcome in mind. They've just been asking random questions. And so learning to ask results-driven questions and questions that desire some kind of change, some kind of, find some kind of problem or some kind of outcome is a very, very different ballgame. The third thing is trying to figure out our message, not from a marketing point of view, but from a sales point of view. What is your message and why you haven't been able to figure it out? Then we talk about how to own your space and truly speak with confidence and conviction. And this is that self-belief that we talk about, making sure that you have that self-belief in what you're doing and what you're selling. So, and then finally, we talk about how to spot buying signals, so you know when to close. And then we talk about effectively pricing your offers so you know that it's worth it. Now, how I want to change it up today is I want to cover all 6 of these topics because these topics are going to help you get to a 6-figure business. But what I want to do is go over the topic really quickly, right? And then ask you what your specific problems in your business in this area are so that we can specifically talk about them and solve them. Yeah? Sound good?
Right. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So there are 3 core elements to having it to an effective sales process. Ready? Number 1 is, hang on, let's see if I can move this. Number 1 is simplicity, right? The ability to keep your sales process simple. So who should it be simple for, you or the customer?
Both, I suppose.
Right? Who's it more necessity for it to be simple for?
Customer.
A customer. If you have to complicate it a little bit for yourself, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, people buy easy.
Yeah.
There are 2 things to always remember about any sales process. The confused mind doesn't buy.
Yep.
Someone is confused, they will never buy. And if it is too hard to buy, they will also not buy. Well, I mean, you're a web developer, Greg, and you're in PR, Alban. So you guys know better than anybody, right? 1 extra click on a website and your conversion rate drops by like half.
Yeah.
Right? That's an extra click. That's literally just having to like press a fucking button 1 more time, right?
Yeah.
So my point there is if we are that fickle on a website, how fickle are we going to be buying from someone in person?
Yeah.
And that's why the biggest thing to your sales process is always make sure you can take the fucking payment and registration for them right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moment. Because if they have to do it later,
you're
gonna lose half your conversions right there.
Yep.
Now, the next thing is it has to be outcome driven. And I mean, this is fucking obvious. Well, obviously, Andrew, it's your outcome is to get a sale.
Yep.
Here's the thing: your outcome isn't to get a sale. Your outcome is to solve their problems. Right? People have this idea that they are going into a sale to find solutions for someone's problems. That's not true. You are the solution. That's where you need to shift to. Your package, your product, what you do is the solution. Right? What you're trying to find is their problems so you can marry yourself to their problems. And when you marry yourself to their problems, what happens? They buy you.
Yep.
Right? Now, then you need consistency. And that's what we were talking about before, doing the same thing to 100 people and then decreasing the no's, increasing the yeses, right?
Yep.
Now, how do we do this? Really, really simple, right? First thing you want to do in any sales process is be authentic. And what I mean by that is you need to get to know them. And when I say get to know them, I don't mean like, I don't mean asking about their business, right? The biggest thing that people do wrong, when they don't run this first step is they actually just forget to actually talk to the person in front of them because they're walking into a sales meeting making the assumption, right? They're making the assumption that this person is, they're scared. They're fearful. They're in a state of like, oh, I just need to get through the sales meeting and hopefully it'll work out. And so they forget to just spend some time with their client and just hang out a bit and get to know the human being. So, and I know that everyone here knows how to talk to a human being and knows how to be nice to someone. Like you got in the call, Greg, and you were quite friendly and we built some rapport pretty quickly and it wasn't very hard for you and it wasn't very hard for me. And Aldwin, you don't know how to shut up, so you'll be fine, right? So,
Thank you.
I love you, Aldwin, right?
I love you
And
too.
but there's a really quick strategy if you do get worried in sales and you're trying to just build that instant relationship with people. There's a really quick strategy you can use to actually build rapport. And it's really simple. And it says it right there. Get to know them, which means the focus is on who? Them. And their focus, if they want to build rapport with you, should be on you, right? So here's the biggest thing that people do when they ask a question, right? Greg, I'm gonna ask you. Actually, I'll ask Aldwin because Greg's been doing all the talking. Aldwin, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you.
Awesome. And how's your day been?
Oh, it's been great. Just really busy. What's going on with the media business?
Stop for a second. So what did I do there? I asked Aldwin, I said, how are you today? And then she said what?
Good.
Good. And then what did I say?
You said, what have you been doing?
No, I said, no, I didn't. I said, how's your day been?
Oh,
I completely dodged your answer. I went straight to my next question because I'm so focused on the question I'm asking. What you want to do is focus on their answer. So if I said to Aldwin, hey, Aldwin, how you going? And she said, I'm good. Then I can say, oh, cool. What happened? Right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me about why you're good. Why? Because then I've listened. And then Aldwin's going to start telling me about why she's good, what's happened. And I'm going to be really overexposed in this lighting. And then I might just quickly get rid of that, I think. Do that there. All right. So, and then Aldwin's going to say to me, right, start telling me a story about why she's good. When she tells me why she's good, she's going to say something that I'm going to latch onto naturally. Naturally. I won't have to think about it. It'll be something in her story. It'll be something she's done. It'll be something about COVID-19. It'll be something about going to the store. It'll be something that I will just naturally latch onto, and then I'll start talking and we'll have a genuine conversation backwards and forwards. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. The next thing is to have clarity. So once you have clarity, so clarity is finding their needs and wants. When you find someone's needs and wants, what you're actually trying to do, right, is you're asking them a bunch of questions to ascertain what their problems are. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit later about how to ask questions properly, but the answer is here is you need to already know what their needs and wants are. That is the most important thing. Here's the thing, Greg, when people come to you, right, when people come to you to make software, when people come to you with a product that they want to develop, there's going to be 6 or 7 major problems that people have. It's going to be very rare that someone comes to you and it's something completely different that you've never seen before, right? So when you make a program, I mean, it's very rare that it's going to be some kind of program that you've never even thought of or heard of before. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have like some major problems. Everyone's going to have some major problems, whether it's efficiency or whether it's, they want to develop an app for their customers or something. It's going to be pretty standard stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's the thing: is you already know what they need. You already know what you want. Your job is actually to ask questions to get there.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Right. Whereas the majority of people are just hoping, right? They're finding clarity over. They're thinking that every business is going to be completely different. The truth is you coming to this workshop. The reason you're here and the reason Olwen's here is you guys will have. You'll actually probably have pretty similar problems, or you'll have one of 6 or 7 major problems that I can solve, if that makes sense, or a few of.
Yep.
Right now, the next thing we need to know how to do is build value. So in this next stage, I mean, we've all gotten pretty good over the past 10 years with everyone saying, build rapport, build rapport, build rapport. We've all gotten pretty good at selling ourselves. What we've forgotten how to do is really sell our product and service. Right? And you need to be really confident and convictive in that. If you can't tell me that your product is awesome, if you can't tell me that your product is actually the best, if you can't literally do that, then I'm not going to buy it because I don't feel certain. I call it the boring to interesting party principle, right? So what happens is, let's pretend Tom gives me a call and goes, oh, hey mate, how you going? And I'm like, yeah, good. And he goes, oh mate, I want to, I'm having a party, my grandma's having a party. I've got no one to go with. I want you to come along and just hang out with me so I'm not bored. And I'm like, sweet man, I'll be there. 5 minutes later, Nick calls me and he goes, oh, Andrea, how you going? This is my yaya's birthday. We're going to have, we're going over, there's going to be a bunch of old people drinking ouzo. We're going to have lots of Greek food. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to get smashed. It's going to be fucking fantastic. Which party am I going to?
Yeah, probably the second one.
Yeah, probably the second one. Right? But it's because he sold the damn party. What he did was, I had a problem of that I was going to be bored, and he solved that damn problem.
Yep.
Right? And so my point here is this, is you need to do 2 things when you're making a valuable pitch and recommendation. One, you need to really sell your shit. Your shit needs to sound freaking like gold. And the second thing you need to do is you become the solution to their problem. So your product or service solves all those problems you found. Right? And the last thing you need to do is not close the sale. You need to do everything else right first. Be authentic, have that clarity, really solve those problems, right? And then at the end, you inspire them to take action. Right? Okay. You don't close the deal. You don't put force, because if I put force on a wall, what happens?
It pushes back.
Correct. I get resistance, right? If I just walk around the wall, I get to the other side. So your job isn't to push on them. Your job is to inspire them to take action by developing a win-win scenario. That make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, I heard something once that the customer's talking to you because they want to buy, and all you've got to do is remove the obstacles out of the way rather than convince them that it's the right thing to do.
Correct. Think about it this way, right, Greg? Is if you didn't, like, and I'm just putting this out, there, and I say this, if you or Olwen didn't want to buy something to do with sales training, you wouldn't have come to the workshop. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you necessarily have thought, oh, I actually want to buy something, that's why I'm there. Yeah. But it's like, there's a pain there, and it's my job to show you how to solve that pain. Okay. And if I can show you that it's me that can solve that pain, then you'll be like, well, there's no reason not to. And that's exactly right. The customer wants to buy. They just need you to get them out of their own way and help them do the right thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like that. That's really, really good. All right. So what pain, or what are we struggling with in regards to our sales process at the moment? Give me a little bit of, let me know what's going on at the moment with our sales process, guys. Who's struggling with something?
I think I'd struggle most with that build value component.
Okay. And what do you struggle most with?
Well, so you sort of tend to run up against, oh, we'll do it in-house, or we'll offshore it, or something like that. And it's like, you've got to sort of demonstrate substantial value on top of what they might be prepared to spend.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So if I stop sharing for a second, with the build value stage, this is something I don't usually share in my workshop. This is why you're getting lucky today, right? Yeah. Right, I'm going to do drawing. I'm going to draw on the screen. You get to see my amazing drawing skills, right? So, so when we're building value, when someone says to you, "Hey, listen, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll do it, or maybe we'll offshore it, blah 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 blah," Your job is to do this, is like in that have clarity stage. Let's say you found, I'm going to do this as circles, right? Let's say circles are problems, and squares are solutions, right? So you found 3 problems. Your job is to do certain things. Is to go, all right, so when you're selling your product, your job is to go, all right, so I can actually solve that problem by doing this. I can solve that problem here. And how I solve that problem, I solve problem 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't matter which one you solve first. It really doesn't. But you solve these 3 major problems of theirs. You say, I can solve that, right? And I can solve problem 3 here. Then after you solve problem 3, and you go, and the reason you get me to solve that problem is this little extra piece of advice, right? So for instance, I might say to you, you might say, Andrew, but yeah, I can just read a bunch of sales training books and I can get my knowledge that way. And I might say to you, yes, but the thing is, one, I can solve this sales training problem, blah, blah, blah. But the other thing is that, you know, a sales training book is not going to hold you accountable. A sales training book is also not going to give you that, going to be able to sit there and say, this is what you're specifically doing wrong now.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so that's a little extra bit. It's like, oh, now you start to go, okay, so I actually can't just get that book. Right. So you want to do that before they say that though. So I might say, in your case, you might say, okay, so you said you wanted to redevelop this program so it was more efficient and it's going to save you time. So I can actually do that. Right. Now, you know, you could go get that. You know, the other thing is the reason you'd obviously use me and say, instead of going overseas or instead of say doing something else, right? The reason you actually do that is because I'm actually going to be able to do that in half the time, and you'll have someone in the country that you can talk to every single time there's an issue, right? Whammo. All of a sudden they're like, oh, that's actually really powerful for me to have, right? Then I'm going to go problem 2, right? And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to solve problem 2. And when I solve problem 2, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the same thing again and give them tell them some sort of other reason why using me is more important than using someone else, right? And then we'll do it again. Now, by the end of it, if you have solved all their problems and made it very clear that you're the one to use with all your extras or all your extra value adds, right? You're going to make it to sale land. And what I call sale land is we all start here down the bottom, right? And a sale is, and a sale is up here. So we can see that the size of this total stack is just hit sale land, right? But if I just solve problem 1, right? Let me just change color for a second. If I just solved problem 1, problem 2, and problem 3, would I have gotten to that height?
No.
I wouldn't get there, would I? So I need those extra value adds, that extra reason to buy. So this is what you're buying, and this is the reason you're buying it from me. Does that make sense? What you're buying, reason you buy it from me. And so we put that in. And so this is the reason why we're the best. The extras is the reason why we're the best. And so the whole idea is we get all the way up to sale and we get the dollars. Does that answer that question for you?
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Let me just share screen. All right, Alban, have you got any questions on your sales process?
No questions, but probably one of my biggest challenges is just getting people over the line that might be just on the fence, and they say they want it, but they just, they put it off, they're not ready now, or so excuses come up. They say they want it, but then they come up with excuses or they're doing other programs, or they're too busy, or
yes, I get to draw again. This makes me really excited. You guys will find out I really like whiteboards. It's like my favorite thing to do. All right, so what that says to me, Alban, is that has a lot to do with objection handling. That is all objection handling, actually.
Right.
And the reason is that tells me that you're not actually getting to the real objection. They're actually just saying something, and you're either rebutting the objection and arguing it back to them and trying to say, no, but that doesn't make sense because, or which I hope you're not doing, which is the typical thing that most people do today, which fucks everything up, is, and you probably all had it before, where you go to a life coach or there's some, you go to some personal development course and they emotionally like target you, right? Try and target your emotions to make you buy something, and that actually pisses you off. Has anyone had that before, or is it just me?
Yeah, it's like a life insurance person when you tell them
like,
how much.
What do you want to do with your life? Is this what you want with your life? Like, dude, fuck off.
Isn't your family more important than that?
Oh,
yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to have a solid process to actually how you handle objections.
Yeah.
Right? And this here, I call it rusking, right? You repeat the objection. The first thing you want to do is repeat it. So if someone says to you, give me an objection, Alban, that they say to you.
I don't have enough time.
Okay, I don't have enough time. Right, so my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the objection. Why? Because you'll understand this as a woman, Alban, but me and Greg had to learn this the hard way. So why you repeat the objection is because you want the person to feel like you've heard them.
Yep.
See, the typical male thing for us to do, Greg, is to do this. It's like, you know, when we go home, and you go home and your partner says to you, oh, says, oh, babe, I've had such a hard day. They tell you their problem, and what do we try and do instantly?
Try and fix it. Yeah, I know.
Don't fucking solve it. It's like the first thing. It's the male instinct, right? And then they're like, and then your partner literally says to you, goes, but I don't want you to solve it. And you're like, fucking why not?
Yeah, well, why are you telling me then?
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to solve it, right? But the thing is what they want to do is feel heard first.
Yep.
Right? So you got to do the same thing for your client. You got to repeat the objection over, right? Now, because as a coach and as a business owner, the first thing we're going to try and do is solve a problem, right? So they're going to say, I don't have enough time. And you're going to repeat that, okay, so you don't have enough time. And then right in here in the Rusk, there's this thing called, all right, the why question, right? And it may not necessarily be the word why. It might be, you know, oh, so what makes you think you don't have enough time? Or, you know, why do you believe that? Or what is stopping you from having time? Or it could be any number of questions that are trying to dig a little bit deeper into their psyche and figure out why they've said that. Do you know what I mean? Right? And then they might say, because I'm doing 5 other courses. And then you go, okay. And is there a lot going on in those courses? And you go, yes. And you ask a couple of more questions. And then you dig further and further and further, and you go, all right. And they're just like, I just feel so overwhelmed. And you're like, all right. So you've got information overload at the moment. So it's actually not time, but information overload, right? And then you say, well, what we do, and then so you go, and then the next thing is once you find that, you start to understand it.
Yeah.
You get to a point of understanding. Now, this is where, again, as men, we fall down, Greg, right? Because this is the next step to not getting yelled at, is fully actually understanding the situation that we walk into. And because sometimes they want to be heard, listened to, right? And then understood, right? They want you to understand their problem, empathize with me. And this is where there's an extra little thing here again that's called empathy. Because there's 2 ways to understand. Does anyone know what they are?
Well, so you're talking tactical empathy here.
Yeah, but, so one is empathy and the other one is something else.
The other one is just sort of like
sympathy.
Sympathy, right, yeah.
Right? Most people tend to sympathize with people. Do you know what's more powerful?
Empathy. Sympathy sucks you into a black hole.
Yeah, correct. Right? Empathy is more powerful. Absolutely. Right? Because empathy, what it actually does is it gives us the understanding, right, from an actual story level, from this has happened to me level, right? So our job here is to bring up a situation where in this understanding phase, to actually bring up a situation where it's happened to us. So when you say, someone say too much time or we get to information overload. It may not be information overload. I'm just picking something, right? But you get there and you go, oh yeah, I totally understand. I remember particularly you, Alban, if it is information overload, you've done like 400 billion courses. So you will know that, right?
Yes.
Right? So then, and you can literally relate to that. Pick a time when you had information overload, where you felt overwhelmed, where, you know, and actually relate to that. Tell them that story and get them back on your side.
Yep.
Right? And now they love you again, right? So now that you've shown that you've listened, you've shown that you care, now guess what you can do? You can solve the problem, right? That's the third step. Solve the problem. And to solve that problem, how you actually solve it is you develop a, how you solve that problem is you do something happens. How you solve that problem is you present a solution that is specific to their actual problem, which you have now understood. Because the first thing you did is repeat it. You dug deeper, found the real problem, then you understood it. Now you can solve that actual issue. And right here is where we get really, really a bit gritty, and I get pissed off, because you know how most people solve all objections ever? Can anyone bring it up? Does anyone know? How do most people solve all sales objections?
Discount.
What'd you say?
Discount.
And there it is. Dollars.
Yeah.
Does that solve anyone's objection?
Not really.
It solves one person's objection. I literally can't afford that much money. That's the only person that it ever solves their objection. Right? Right? That's it. Right? So the problem is that there is not the solution, right? That there is the fake garbage solution that everyone wants to use. But the truth is that is actually not the solution. The solution is whatever actually solves that specific problem. Okay? So you really need to tailor your solution to their specific problem. And that's why it's so important that we really find out what their objection is. Yep. Now, then the next step is, once you've actually solved their problem, then you can look at closing the sale.
Yep.
Okay? Then you can close the sale, because now you have the right. Not only have you repeated the objection, so made them feel listened to, understood the objection, so empathize with them, made them feel like you care. Not only have you then solved their problem, made them feel better about their problem, now that you've done all those three things, you have the right to actually close that deal. And then once you close the deal, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to say
another objection, or yes, or they'll give you another objection.
Bang! And if they give you another objection,
go back around.
You go back around until, right?
Until they say yes, or you get sick of talking to them.
Correct. You've done that about 3 times. After about 3 or 4 times, they're going to be like, can you fucking stop, please? It's annoying. I'm trying to give you excuses here, but you're not taking it.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah. So does that make sense to everyone?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Cool. Any other questions about sales process? All right. I'll take that. We can move on. So the next one we want to talk about is, how do we question? I'm just going to go through this because we're going to move on to that after.
Yep.
So how do we ask questions? This is the biggest. Don't go to sleep on me, Alvin. This is the biggest problem that people have, I believe, in selling. And I use a model called multi-line questioning. And how I do my questioning is by, like I said before, is you're going to have 6 or 7 major problems in your business that are truly effective, right? That are not truly effective, that are, truly common, right? That 99% of all your clients will come to you with 1 or 3 or 4 of these 6 or 7 major problems. And it is your job to actually just know what those problems are. Because when you know, you can tailor, you can pre-script questions that will direct you towards those problems. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So how do we do that? The first thing is we start by knowing the problem. And this is called the path choice zone. So your customer comes to you, Greg, what's one of the major problems that people are going to have when they come and see you?
Well, you'd think it'd be technical, wouldn't you? But it's usually people related.
All right, cool. So people pick a problem.
As in, okay, so I'd go into a project and the project's running behind, and there's a cultural disconnect between people working the development side and people in the support side and the sales side. They don't understand each other.
Okay, perfect. Great. So there's a cultural disconnect. So you now know the problem is actually cultural disconnect, right?
Yep.
You know that that's going to be part of one of the problems. So what you do is you're going to ask a question. You say, you might ask the first question, which is called a base question. And a base question is a really, really open question that's going to deliver a fuckload of information. We call it the information finder. And the whole idea here is, for instance, in your case, the first question I would ask to get to there, you've actually chosen that problem. You've chosen it. That's the problem you're looking for.
Yep.
So you're going to ask a question like, so tell me how the project's running at the moment.
Yep.
Right? Why are we going to ask that question? Because if you think about it, that question they'll start downloading you with all the information on the project.
Yeah.
When they do that, you're going to see where the cultural disconnects are, right?
Well, they're not going to tell you till they trust you, though.
Yeah, correct. But see, that's where people get it wrong, right? That's actually where people get it wrong, is that they're not going to trust you unless you ask them.
Okay.
Right? Is people have this idea that they can't ask the personal questions. I'm not bringing you in here because I want to have a look at the spiders on the wall. I'm bringing you in here because I have pain.
Yeah.
I need you to help me. So, for instance, if you came and sat in on a discovery session with me, whether you trusted me or like whether we sat down, I'd build some rapport, and I'd instantly, the first thing I'd say, all right, so how's business going for you at the moment? I know what I'm trying to find, but I'm going to ask you how business is going. You're going to start telling me about your business. And then my next question, and then I will actually ask you, maybe not right there, it might be a couple questions in, tell me about what's your revenue at the moment? What was your revenue? Where has it gone? All that sort of stuff. Because here's the thing, if you're coming to me because you need to increase and grow your business, I need to know that stuff. Otherwise I can't offer you a solution. And if I ever get someone that asks me, goes, oh, do you need to know that? I'll be like, if you want me to offer you the right solution, then absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
Right? So the biggest thing is to, trust is two things. Trust is two things. It's both earned and asked for.
Right.
Right? And people just focus on earning it. Yeah. You actually have to ask for trust to get trust.
Okay.
Right? So first thing so the first question I would actually ask is, tell me about your project, right? So tell me about how the project's running. And they're going to tell you. And then after that, once they've given you that download of information, you're going to have a bunch of information they've given you where you can expand on to dig deeper. And this is what we call the problem finder.
Okay.
Right? And an expansion question is something similar to, let's say they've gone, oh, there's some efficiency differences and this hasn't been done and the salespeople don't really know what they want. And you might say, oh, okay, so can you tell me how have you had, like you might say, tell me about how the meetings between the salespeople and the project developers have been going. Like, what's actually been happening there, right? And you'll actually physically ask that question. That's an expansion. But your target is you're trying to find the cultural disconnect. And you know what? They don't give a shit whether they even know that's what you're trying to find. They just want you to solve their problem. So what happens is you ask that question, they start downloading you with information, you find a problem, right? You go, okay, there it is, right? You might have to ask 2 or 3 expansions to actually get to that problem, right? Then finally, whammo, right? You're going to ask a yes question. You go, all right, so what you're saying is the problem is that there's a disconnect between what the salespeople want and what the developers are creating.
Yep.
Would you say that's correct?
Yep.
And they'll say yes, and you go, fantastic, thank you. Now they've validated your problem.
Yep.
And so a yes question is actually a really simple question. Ready? I'm going to ask you this. Hey, Aldwin.
Yep.
Your background is blue, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? So I actually know what the problem is, right? So I'm going to say, so there's a disconnect between what the salespeople want and what the developers are creating, isn't there?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. All you're seeking is validation that that's the problem, because you're doing 2 things there. You are getting validation that it is the problem. You don't have to keep hunting. And second thing, right, is you're getting them to validate that in their own mind.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense? Now, then what you're going to do is go back to here. You're going to come all the way back to the start, to the path choice zone, and you're going to do it again, right? So you found problem 1, you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again. and you're going to keep doing it. So you might ask 20 questions. It might take you 45 minutes to ask these questions. But when you ask all of those, you're going to find that some of these major problems that you have, that you talked about, or that you usually have, they don't have them. Some of them they do. And you're also going to find that some of them maybe they do have, but they don't care about. And you're going to find the ones that they want to focus on. And that is where you're going to begin, is focusing on the problems that they really are struggling with, and you're going to relate that to how you would fix that.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Does any questions on your question game that you guys want answered while we're here? Cool. Alban, you good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what do we think of that model, guys? What do we think of that model of questioning?
I like it.
It's good, as long as they're not counterfeit yeses. Yeah.
What'd you say?
As long as the yeses aren't counterfeit.
As long as the yeses aren't counted.
Counterfeit.
What do you mean? Oh, counterfeit.
Yeah.
Oh, counterfeit.
Or someone says yes just to make you go away.
Yeah. No. You have to. You don't. That's why you're asking them legit questions. Right?
Yeah.
You've actually got to dig. If you don't think you found the problem, don't ask for a yes.
Yeah.
Your job is to actually find a real issue.
Okay.
And you know when it's a real issue because they'll react too. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's really annoying." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they say, "Yeah, that's really annoying," then yeah, you're good. But if they're like, "Yes, you don't want those yeses. You want like a proper yes."
All right.
You in?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. That works.
Now, the next thing is your messaging, right? So there are three powerful elephants. Three powerful elements to a powerful message. One is why you do what you do, right? One of the most important things to any message is you need to know, or I need to know, or anyone needs to know why you do what it is that you do. You know, if you go in there and they like your stuff, they think you're really good, but they think you're an asshole because you don't have a cause or a reason or a just cause or anything, they're not going to buy from you because they don't like you. So they need to have some kind of why, some kind of reason. Here's a really easy way to explain that. Who has an Apple phone here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Who has a HP computer or Dell computer or like any brand normal computer?
Mm-hmm.
No? Cool. Awesome. So if you walked in a store, Alban, so you've got a HP or Dell. When you, what brand do you have, Alban?
I've got Acer.
You got what?
An Acer.
Acer, cool. Why did you buy Acer?
Well, I bought this one because it's only 1 kilogram and it's state of the art, lighter than the MacBook Air, and I wanted it for travel, and it had amazing specs.
Awesome, great, perfect. Why did you buy the Apple, Greg?
Because it does whatever I want. So I can build Apple applications on it or Windows applications on it. And there's definitely a coolness factor, I think, to it as well, isn't it?
Ah, there we go. Look at this, right now. Did Baldwin's answer have anything to do with the brand itself?
No.
He didn't give a shit that it was Acer.
No.
He just bought a fucking computer, right?
Yeah.
You like, I bought an Apple.
That's all right. That is a big part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
It's part of it, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you came and looked at my room, you'd be like, oh, dude, Andrew, you like HP. You've got a HP laptop, you got a HP desktop, you got a HP screen, and I've got one Dell screen off in the corner there, right?
Yeah.
All of my old stuff was Dell, all of my new stuff was HP. You want to know what the difference between the HP stuff and the Dell stuff was? Is that this is just what was better now. Another brand.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that Dell and HP, for when it comes to business laptops and computers, are pretty much the best. I don't care that it's HP or Dell, right? Yeah. The only one that I can say is similar to yours is my laptop is HP, and the reason I bought that is because I had the right specs and because it was the coolest looking fucking thing out. It looked sick, right? But again, that had nothing to do with HP. They just happened to design something.
Yeah.
The thing is, Apple can design the ugliest crap and people will still buy it because people know why they're buying it. Right? Yeah. They know why Apple started. They know what Apple does, what for, and they know what Apple wants. Right? What you know, Apple wants to think differently. Apple started to give people something different, Apple is trying to change the world in some way, right? So there's a reason why. But when you think of Dell, you think of letters and a computer. When you think of it this way, Dell makes computers. And if you saw a Dell phone, would you buy it? You'd be like, I'm going to buy a Samsung or a Oppo or whatever, right?
Yep.
You're not going to buy a Dell phone, right? But you would. But Apple makes phones, headphones, tablets, computers, a bunch of different things. But you buy everything that they make because Apple is synonymous with quality and engineering and ingenuity. I mean, because it's why they do it.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to really be able to share in your sales meetings why you do what you do. It's really important, right? You need to get that across. The next thing is, what are you trying to change? Right. So what issues did you see in the marketplace? Right. Here's the thing, Greg, and here's the thing, Alwyn.
Yep.
It does not matter what you got into. Neither one of you said, you know what? I'm going to get into PR because I think that everyone else in PR is doing it perfectly. I don't need to be involved at all. It's perfect.
Yep.
I'm just going to do it because I want to.
Yep.
Neither one of you said that. You guys were like, they're doing shit wrong.
Yep.
This is what I can change and this is what I can fix. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly right. So what issues do you see? Then when you got in, you also had a specific person in mind that you want to help, right? And this is what I lost for a very, very long time is this. I knew that I wanted to help small businesses and small business consultants and coaches and stuff, but I just lost it. And I was just so scared to just niche right down and say, you know what, this is who I'm helping. This is who I'm for. This is what I'm doing. But I was so scared to do that. But you got to do that. Who did you, like, Greg, if I asked you right now, when you initially first started your business, the first day you were like, people need some fucking help. Who'd you do that for? Who was that for? What was the reason? Who was it for that you were thinking about? Or who were you?
This is business that when I started, it's almost accidental. Like, basically I wanted to make more money. That was one of the reasons. But as you go through it, yeah, it's like, you want to help more customers. You want to help people see things in a different way.
Who specifically? Coca-Cola?
Well, I don't tend to deal with like gambling industry. So people say, I work with people in the health space and travel and that kind of thing. People are sort of trying to improve the world.
All right, cool. So you want to help people that are trying to improve the world. And so people need to know that. People need to understand that that's who you're trying to help. So that when they come to you, someone in the health space, for instance, you're sitting in front of them. You're like, dude, you're actually why I got into business. You say that to them straight up.
Yeah,
you are why I got into business. I actually want to help people in the health space.
Okay.
I specifically specialize in that because that's who I want to. I want to help people that are trying to improve the world. You don't think that'll make a difference, but I can promise you that will make a massive difference to whether they buy or they don't.
Okay.
Right. And then the last one is what's their outcome. So now that they know your why and what you want, the question is, what do they want? What's their outcome? And the thing is you knew their outcome. And so part of your message is the outcome. So here's the thing. Put your hand up here if you want a multi-six-figure business. Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind that?
Wouldn't mind that.
Cool. Awesome. Great. What do I sell? What's my outcome for people?
Six-figure business.
Right? That's my point. What you're trying to do is you're trying to give people the outcome that they want, right? Yep. What is the outcome that all your clients want, Greg?
They want happy projects and business growth and simplicity.
Okay, fuck yeah. The way you said crappy projects, the way you said business growth was very different to the way you said simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? The way you said simplicity was like, they want simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? Right? They want it to be easy. Right? Because what do people want from their software? Why do people like Apple? Because it's
simple. Yeah.
Easy. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, Alwyn, what do people want from you? What's their outcome? What's people's outcome from you?
Well, they want more sales. They want to build their profile, build their credibility, celebrity status. They want to charge more for what they do. They want to get known, be seen, and they want free publicity.
All right, cool. So which one out of those Greg, which
Yep.
one out of those did you hear had the different, what do you call it? The different tonality. Which one did you pick up on?
Free publicity.
Oh, did you?
That's what I picked up on.
I picked up on celebrity status.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one I picked up on. That's the one that, you know, and I think if you really think about it, when a lot of people that come to you, they say that they want to be, they just want to be known because they want their message to get out there. Part of it is, I think they just want that significance, that celebrity status. And
Yeah, what we call
that's
it,
their
yeah.
outcome. They want to be a celebrity. They want their 15 minutes of fucking fame.
Yep, yep.
Right? You know, when I came to you because I want more leads, right? I'm not going to complain about having my 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. So people don't like to brag about it. So they'll
People dance around, don't they?
dance
Yeah,
around it.
they dance around it, but you can't.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you need to make them feel comfortable with that. That's okay. So people also dance around wanting simplicity. And the reason they dance around it because they don't want to be seen as not smart, as, oh, I can handle the complex situations. But you need to make them feel like that's okay. You need to make them feel like, hey man, you're allowed to want simplicity. That's fine. Be simple, right? You're allowed to want celebrity status. You know, it's okay to want to be known and it's okay to want to be remembered. Perfectly okay. And finally is, what do you believe in the industry? So really, really quickly, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And what are your 4 core beliefs? Yeah?
Okay. Yep.
Right? People need to know what your 4 core beliefs are. Right? So you guys know me. You guys have, been on here for what? An hour and a bit now. We started an hour ago. If you had to say 4 core beliefs of mine, what would you say? Just pull them out of the hat.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, right? So, yep. So you know one. So what's another one?
Confidence.
Confidence. Yep. Self-belief. Love it. What else?
Results focus.
Results. Yep. One more.
The surge thing, isn't it? Growth and energy. Results.
So my point is that it wasn't very hard for you guys to figure out what my 4 core beliefs are. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But if I don't know what your 4 core beliefs are, if I can't figure that out by the way that you deliver your message to me in a sales pitch, then I don't know whether we're aligned, right? So you guys, so you're either sitting here going, I agree with those 4 core beliefs, or I don't, right? And if you do, then I'm closer to making a sale. If you don't, then I'm further away from making a sale, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So now, before we move on, messages. What's everyone struggling with in terms of their messages? Their message.
Well, it's interesting you say 4 core beliefs, because I say I'm a stand for truth, good news, and animal welfare. And with the media side, it's just truth and good news. So I guess.
But see, here's the thing, Aldrin. Animal welfare is your charitable side, right? That's not going to make you a sale.
No.
Right. So what are the core? I say 4 core beliefs. 2 is fine, but what's 4 core beliefs that you have for them? Right.
What's my stand for them?
Yeah. So my stand for my clients is authenticity, self-belief, positivity and joy, like happiness and joy, and results. Absolute results. If I had to pick 4 core freaking things, it's probably those 4. Right. So, so understanding what your 4 core beliefs are and being able to deliver those. So for instance, Greg, what are your 4 core beliefs in your industry, would you say?
For me, it's
simplicity would be one, I'd assume.
Simplicity, teamwork, as in sort of trying to understand things from other people's perspective is a big part of it. I don't know how I'd sum that up in a word, but and yeah, definitely fun is a key value as well.
Okay, so simplicity, teamwork, fun, and what else?
And insight, I suppose.
Okay. So if you believe in simplicity, teamwork, fun, and insight, and you make me feel that, I don't know a lot of people that will deny working with you if you really make them feel that.
Mm.
Right? Because everyone wants wants it to be simple. Everyone wants it to be fun. Everyone wants the team to work harmoniously, and everyone wants to have good insight into what they're doing.
Yep.
Right. So that's really powerful right there.
Okay.
Aldwin, 4 core beliefs.
So I say people achieve fame, fortune, freedom, and leave a legacy, right? So they're 4 things that are benefits people are going to get. So I stand for that for my clients.
So what do you stand for your clients? What's
fame, fortune, freedom, leave a legacy. So being seen, being heard, making the difference they're here to make. Fun, of course, is a big one. You know, I want people to enjoy their lives. Loving life is my group. So fame, fortune, freedom, leave a legacy. That legacy, fame, fortune, freedom.
Okay, so legacy. So one of the things, so you stand for them to be known.
Yeah.
So that's the core belief, is them to be known. They deserve to be known for what they do.
Yeah, and to speak up.
Right. All right. So that's one. So they deserve to be known is one.
Yep.
What's another core belief?
Be known, will be seen, be heard. I guess it's kind of the same.
Be heard. Right. That's different. So they deserve to be known and they deserve to be heard. That's 2.
Heard. Be seen.
The other 2 that you had before.
Would be seen be a different one then? Be seen?
No. I think seen, if you're seen and heard, you're known. Right. But being known and being heard are 2 different things.
Okay. So impact.
Because everyone knows Selena Gomez, but no one's listening to her.
Okay. So having impact, influence.
Right. It's whatever your core beliefs. Rather than trying to come up with things that people like, just believe in what you believe in. Who cares about what people like, right? It's about what you actually believe in, because people will buy for what you believe in. They won't buy for what you're trying to make them like. It's not about what they like. It's not about trying to get ratings. It's about physically what do you actually believe in.
Oh, well, truth and good news are my 2 big ones.
Okay, truth, good news. Great. That's 2. What else? What else do you actually physically believe in?
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. That's the 3rd one. Love that one. What else do you actually believe in?
And freedom of information.
All right. So truth, good news, freedom of speech, and freedom of information. You get those 4 things across, people will love you for that. Or they'll hate you for it. Either way, doesn't matter.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Speed up your sales process anyway.
What'd you say?
We'll speed up your sales process because you polarize people quickly. Yeah.
Well, it's very topical at the moment, particularly the last 2, freedom of speech and freedom of information.
All right. Let's not get political.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So any other questions about the message?
No, that's good.
Cool. Awesome. Next is all right. So the next one is the ability to own it. So when you're in sales, you got to own some things. You got to know some things. You got to be this person that owns the space, owns the room, owns your offer, and owns your reason for being there. Now there are 4 major components to that. Number 1 is compartments, apparently, not components, right? But either way, 4 major compartments to that. Number 1 is confidence, right? You've got to be confident. You know, this comes down to that self-belief thing, right? You have to be confident in what it is you're selling. If you are not confident in what it is that you were selling, if you are not confident in yourself in that room, here's the question I have for you. If you aren't confident that you deserve to be there, how can I be confident that I deserve to buy from you, or that you deserve me to buy from you?
It's infectious, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right? You have to be confident. Yep. The next thing is you need conviction. Does everyone know what the difference between confidence and conviction is?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So confidence means that you think you're all right and people should listen to you, but conviction is you're absolutely sure that what you're doing is right.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. One is belief in oneself, and the other one is belief in what one's doing.
Yeah. All right.
So it's belief. It comes down to belief. One is self-belief. The other one is belief in your actions. So for instance, I believe that I deserve to be here, and I totally believe that this is the right thing for you. Right? Yeah. Simple. Right? Confidence, conviction. And you need both. The next thing you need in every sale is control. Now, this is the one that people struggle with. They're like, oh, do you really want to control a conversation? Well, let me ask you something. How much do I know about about software development, do you think?
I have no idea.
Say nothing.
Nothing. All right. Yep.
Yeah, nothing at all. I'm a salesman.
Nothing. All right.
That's about all I got. How much does the average salesman know about freaking software development, Greg?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, not much. So if I lead that conversation, how well is that conversation going to go?
If you lead it, yeah, it would go better.
What'd you say?
If you lead the conversation, as in, like, if I lead it or you lead it.
No. If I led the conversation as a salesman and not a freaking product development, I know nothing about.
Yeah, no, that might not necessarily go so well.
Yeah, it's not going to go so well, right?
Yeah.
And this is where people fall down in sales a lot. The single most important part to any sale, above rapport, above selling yourself,
Yep.
above selling your product, above selling anything, above everything, the single most important part to any selling is control.
All right.
If you are not in control of the conversation, you will not get to where you need to go.
Okay.
Now, how do we control the conversation, do you think?
With the questioning.
Yeah, you picked up on that real fast. Well done. The questions equal control. So if you're doing all the talking and I'm doing all the asking, guess what? I'm in control.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm doing all the asking and all the talking, I'm still in control.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing: a lot of times customers have questions, and so they ask, and then we answer, and then they ask again, and they ask again, and they start leading us into the desert. And it's our job to bring them back. And how we bring them back is by answering the question and then flipping a question straight back to them and asking them 2 or 3 questions in a row. Once you've asked 2 or 3 questions in a row to someone, they will generally be, once you've asked 2 or 3 questions in a row, they will generally be inclined to just keep answering, and you'll have control back.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, and then finally, the next thing is the energy that you present. If you present a high level of energy, now your version of high energy, not mine, I'm crazy man energy, right? But it's your level of whatever high energy is. If you present that high energy, what you're going to do is you're actually going to show them that you've got that confidence, that conviction, that control, and you can own the sale.
Okay.
Right? And you show them that you want to be there and you deserve to be there. So those 4 compartments, if you can get those 4 things right, you will own the room. And owning the room, seriously, I have seen people's conversion rate, when they really learn how to own the room and how to own it, I've seen people's conversion rate go from 5% to like 35% overnight.
Yeah, okay.
Right? It's just this one thing that is so powerful.
Uh-huh.
So, any questions on that?
Oh, that's good.
We're good? Awesome. Buying signals. Don't worry about that. We'll get straight into it because we'll ask questions on the other end. Now, what is a buying signal? Who knows what a buying signal is?
That's a hint that the customer is at that emotive place where they can feel more value than the fear of loss of actually doing a transaction. Does that make sense?
They're at a point where they're interested.
Yeah.
Signal to say, hey, I'm possibly interested in buying.
Right.
Right. So buying signals come in many shapes and sizes. One is keep an eye on their body language. Now with online sales, right? See that yawn there? That is a buying signal that I'm boring as shit.
No, I didn't have enough sleep last night.
Same. No reflection on you.
I was up till like 2 a.m. last night, and then I was up at 6 a.m. going for my freaking exercise.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So body language is the first one. So watching someone's body language is really, really important. Now, when you're selling online, it is fairly different. You have to be aware that people are a hell of a lot. You're watching more their facial body language and are they yawning? Are they interested? Are they leaning forward? Are they leaning back? Right. But keeping an eye on that. If someone's leaning into the screen and like, you know, reading really tightly, are they interested or are they not interested?
They might be looking at something else.
Maybe, but it's probably a pretty good sign that they're interested.
Yeah,
if someone's asking lots of questions and getting involved and engaging, are they interested or not interested?
Interesting.
Interested. Yeah.
right? So body language. So, and you know what? And so that leads us straight into the next thing, which is question types, because tone of voice is part of body language, but tone of voice is also part of what types of questions they're asking. If someone's asking, when does this finish? Are they interested or not interested?
Probably not interested.
Probably not that interested, right?
Yeah.
But if they're, so neither one of you better ask me that fucking question. So if someone's asking you though, you know, like asking you serious questions about your product and, you know, about your service, about, oh, so how do we do this? So how do we create this? So how would you do this? You know, how much does this cost? They're all buying signals. They're all great questions stating, hey, listen, I'm kind of interested in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next one is constant clarification. This one people mistake for they think that it's the customer saying you're doing a shitty job of explaining yourself. It's actually, this is actually the customer saying, I'm actually think I want to buy this product, right? So I'm clarifying that this is the right thing for me, right? So constant clarification is a good thing. That's a really heavy buying signal. Another one, were you going to say something, Greg?
No, carry on.
The next one is if someone asks for more details. Right? If someone asks for what details they've got, like, so, when does the program start? Or when would you begin the work? Or, you know, how long does the work take? All that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, or when can you get me a quote? You know, all those things are their positive buying signals. If someone says something like, can you give me the details of a different software developer? Then you've probably lost the sale. Right? You probably don't. Right? Just be like, screw you, I'm out. Right.
Yeah.
Right. No. And then finally, this is the one that everyone mistakes as a problem. And it's, what else do you do?
Right.
What else do you do? Everyone thinks is like, oh, I've lost the sale. Damn it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything at all. What it means is you haven't solved their problems, but they're interested in what you do and they possibly want to buy from you. Right. So that's really, really, really important. Now, buying signal number 4. If someone starts clarifying details like that, what should you do?
So, will you start moving towards an order?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're closing the sale right now.
Yeah.
Don't just stop whatever the fuck you're doing, close the sale, right? Because that's them saying, not I'm thinking about buying. That's them saying, I'm ready, close me.
All right, so we'll get you an agreement and that kind of thing.
Right. So you go, right, what we do is we get you an agreement. That'll have all the details you want in there, when we start, how long it takes, all that sort of stuff. You're probably looking at about 12 weeks. Right. All right. So just sign here and we'll be good to go. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
Right in. As soon as they're clarifying details, start closing the deal. Right. Because you might get a few people that say no to that every now and then, but the majority of people, when they're clarifying details, are saying, I'm ready to buy.
What about I'll show it to the rest of my team when you get that?
Well, that's an objection, right?
That's an objection.
That's an objection, right? So there's 2 ways to handle that. Either you try and close it on the spot, right?
Yeah.
You're going to lose that sale real fast.
Right.
Or you go, great, how about we show it to the team?
Yeah, okay.
Right? And then what you do is you say, listen, I'm a software developer. You're not a software developer. You explaining or showing this to the team is not going to do it justice. And it's not about me getting the sale here. It's just about, you know, you want to actually get it across the line to them properly. So why don't you let me do the explanation? Let's set up a Zoom meeting and I can talk to you and the team about it.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Right.
Did I answer that question?
Yeah.
Now, with buying signals, before we move into the next stage, buying signals are, look at that mess on the screen. That made sense a while ago. Right? So buying signals are really an indication of a thing called impulse. Right? They're an indication that the person has the impulse to possibly buy. But there's this graph called impulse over time. And what it means is you need to be aware that every single industry has what we call an impulse over time graph. An impulse over time really dictates one thing. It dictates this, that I'm going to do this in a different color. It dictates this. It says, as I go through the sale, my customer's impulse is going to go up, and then over time, it's going to drop off. And so where do we actually want to close the sale?
At the top.
The top, right there. Now, everyone's time is going to be different. So Aldwin, this might be 30 minutes for you. Greg, this might be 3 meetings of 3 hours. I have no idea, right? But what you need to do as you move forward in your sales, you need to start to analyze where is the time where these guys have the most impulse, and structure your meeting to last exactly that long, so that on average, that amount of time is where you close the sale.
Yep. Okay.
Right?
Yep.
You need to start paying attention to where these buying signals are coming up. What point in the sale? How long have I been here? All those sorts of things. And that's where you want to start. And if you haven't got enough said in your sales process, by the time you get to that point, then you need to go, screw it, I'm going to close anyway and see what happens, right? Because they're at peak impulse, right? And the next time, even if I lose the sale, I'm just going to edit my sales process to match that time frame. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Any questions? Ooh. Cool. All right. So now, next step. I'm so glad. This has been awesome. Love it. So next step is so for closing, I wanted to give you guys a closing, a bit of a closing formula when you're closing a sale, right? When people give you buying signals. This is nice and simple, right? Most people try and close a sale in some really long-winded, here, do this, let's go here, create this, blah, blah. Closing is simple. You should have already told them the price in the recommendation stage. Closing is literally a few lines that generate a win-win situation and said with confidence and conviction. So I might say to you, Aldwin, I might say, all right, so you said that you wanted to develop that sales process and you wanted to get that sorted, right? So if we get that sales process developed, what you're going to do is get X, Y, Z out of that, which are those things you wanted. So how about we just sort that out? Right? It's that simple. That's all that it is. It's inspiring someone to take action by developing some kind of win-win scenario where I get the sale and they get their problem solved. Simple, right? So don't overcomplicate closing. Don't make it really, really difficult. Just keep it simple. Make it an easy thing. All right. Now, finally, pricing, right? Now, when we are, does anyone here have problems with their pricing or packaging?
Sometimes the customer doesn't seem to have the investment that would be required to get the job done.
Yeah, well, yours is more hourly rate basis, I assume.
No, we do fixed fee stuff. We do fixed fee sort of development, but
okay.
Yeah.
How many people are in your team?
Just me at the moment.
Just you? Awesome.
Yep.
So, so what you want is per hour, right? So the first thing you want to do is factor in 4 major things when you are pricing anything. One is how much you're charging per hour. 2, the amount of hours it takes you to do it. 3, what cost to the business is there? And 4, what cost to your life is there, right? So once you factor those in, this is how we rate those in, right? 1, what's your hourly rate? Your whole business needs to run on your hourly rate.
Yeah.
You need to know what your time is worth per hour to your customers, not overall to the business, but just to your freaking customers. What is your time worth per hour to do actual delivery? If you don't know that, then you'll end up working for $30 an hour or $100 an hour or something that you should not be working at. As a software developer, for instance, you should not be working for $30 an hour.
No, I'm not.
Right? So what's your hourly rate, right? So what, and particularly for you, Aldwin, as a PR lady, damn, you should not be working for $30 an hour, right? So what's your hourly rate? So first thing you need to know if you're trying to figure out your valued hourly rate is you need to look at yourself from a logical point of view and go, all right, so without any self-doubt, without any thinking I'm the greatest thing on the planet, what is my time outside of what people are willing to pay? What is it worth per hour?
Right.
Just worth, right? So is it worth $1,000? Is it worth $500? What is it worth per hour? Now, then I've got to figure out is what are people willing to pay me per hour? An absolute maximum. An absolute maximum, what are they willing to pay me? And then you've got to put yourself into the spectrum and go, all right, so that's the maximum people are willing to pay me. Where in relation to the best person who would be getting that maximum rate am I? Am I close to them? Am I that good? Am I not good enough? Right? And then where are you, who is the best and where are you in relation to them? So once you know those 4 questions, you'll know roughly where you should be charging. So let's say I say my time is worth $500 an hour. People are willing to pay, say $700 an hour. The best is some guy over in, people might be willing to pay $10,000 an hour. The best is Grant Cardone, and I am nowhere near Grant Cardone, right? So I sit there and I'm like, all right, so my worth rate is well within what people are willing to pay. And I might have 70% of Grant Cardone's skill, but none of his notoriety. So you know what? Yep, I'm worth that, right? But you actually start to figure out, you actually start to get more clarity, because figuring out what you're worth per hour is like a really, I don't want to say enigmatic, what's the word for it? A really abstract thing. There's no real specific formula, because it's what are you worth, right? So you need to figure out your hourly rate. Then you need to figure out how much time the product takes, right? So how long does it take to do the program, any outside support, and any admin? Don't just factor in the hours of actual physical delivery. You've got to factor in admin and outside support. Now, of course, you know, if you are for you, Greg, you're not going to factor in outside support and admin at the same rate that you factor in actual software development, right? You're not going to do that. But you've got to factor it in, because otherwise you end up working for free for those hours.
Yep.
Right? So you do have to factor that stuff in. Now, finally, running costs. So what does it cost to keep the business open each month? Subscriptions, staff, overheads, all that sort of stuff. And then finally, your life costs. How much does it cost to keep your life alive each week? You know, what's including your spending money? What kind of life do you want to live?
And your Coke habit and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, fucking right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, can you just give me a sec? So, this is being recorded. Shit, I can't use this video now. Right. So does that all make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Any questions around pricing?
Yep. So.
Cool. Love it. All right, guys, that is, what questions have we got outside of overall? What, if you had one question you could ask me right now before we move into my turn to do some sales stuff, if there was one question that you could ask a sales coach, what would you ask? Oh my God, I've solved all your problems.
Yeah, we haven't had to pay you a cent. It's awesome.
What's your biggest struggle in sales? How do I find clients? Cool. I must have done a good job then.
Yep.
Cool. All right. How did we enjoy that, guys? How did we enjoy the workshop?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, do you think that I've earned the right to maybe tell you what I have to offer?
Yes.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, maybe possibly. Right. We'll see. All right. So the question is, I ask everyone at the end of doing that is, how did you feel about sales when you came in, and how do you feel about it now? What's the difference?
Still positive.
Yep. You're a bit. You like sales, do you, Greg?
I do. I like learning about it, networking, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Fair enough. Was there any aha moments for you guys?
There was one. I can't remember it. Yeah.
Well, geez, it was a great aha moment, wasn't it?
I think lots of things actually. I think the questioning is really good, just digging into the problem and just really getting people, you said, you know, empathize, understand, so that when they share a problem, you're not just trying to solve it. you're really getting where they're at. And that's something I see that I haven't done enough of. I just want to solve all the time, even though I'm a female. And I know it's men normally that do that. But yeah, I've noticed that today, that I don't do enough questioning and I don't empathize enough, I feel.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Greg, anything that come to you?
No, similar with the questioning, I think the sort of the empathy side of it is something that I think I need to develop more.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So, if there were, so what I want you to do now is I want you to actually write down, before I give you my offer, I want you to actually write down what are the 3 biggest problems that you think I could help you with in sales. What are the 3 biggest problems like that you would want solved? 3 biggest things. Mine right now is sitting down. That's my biggest problem.
Sitting down. So you're a stand-up desk there, man?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm a director of a couple of businesses, and one of the businesses is trying to get the sales guy to actually report to us as to what's happening. Clarity.
Is he doing a good job?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. It's commission-based salesman.
What'd you say?
He's a commission-based salesperson.
Oh, okay, so he has to do a good job to survive.
Well, he has to do a good job for somebody to survive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm trying to get him to report to you correctly.
Yeah.
He just doesn't talk to you, or?
No, well, he talks to CEO a lot. I run the CTO role, so
yeah,
he acts as the sales guy and reports to the. I mean, we're generating the sales, so
yeah.
just a bit more regularity in the whole process would be good.
Yeah, would be good. Yeah. So, well, I mean, that just comes down to developing your process the right way.
Yep.
Yeah. And all right, cool. Aldwin?
We'll close more leads. I feel like I let a lot of leads go because I've just kind of go, oh, okay, then you're too busy. No worries. Well, just let me know when you want to, like I just tend to just, I don't dig deep enough. I think anyway, so close more leads, overcome objections. I could definitely do with more help in that area, and systems and structure around, maybe having some scripts around how I do this and working, being conscious of that and the types of questions I could ask to really dig into people's problems and how I can solve those problems.
Awesome. Cool. So, all right, cool. I'm going to do something. I'm going to change things up. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. I'm going to stop sharing. What I want to do is I want to offer you both a private chat, right? And the reason I want to do that private one-on-one chat is because that offer that I have in my workshop, I don't think that is right for either one of you. Because Aldwin, I know you, right? 1. And 2, Greg, based on, the things that you've told me, I just think that offer, it's a $397 group coaching offer, and it probably isn't what you need if you need something, right? So what I'd rather do is offer you guys a 20-minute chat, which my amazing VA will put a link to in there it is, right there, boom, boom, right there. So what is it? Is that the right one, Jenny? Are we sure that's the right one?
Yep. The post-workshop 20-minute catch-up. 20-minute chat with.
All right, cool. Just making sure it's the right one. Making sure. Leave me alone. Right. So my amazing VA is going to put that in there. So what I want you to do is both of you go in and book a time because I'd love to, if you want to, I'd love to sit down and have a chat with you. What do you reckon?
All right. Okay.
Good. So if you just click that link for me now and then go and book that in, and then sweet. We'll be good to go, because I do think I'd love to know a little bit more about your businesses, Greg, and see where where you're struggling, why you're not getting the guy to report to you, those sorts of things, where we can increase your conversion. Because here's the thing: think about it this way: if I could increase your conversion by 5%, even 5%, that's a shitload of money. Okay? And Aldwin, yours, how to convert more leads. You're a PR. The amount of money that you can make just by increasing your conversion. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass about, increase your leads 75 billion%. right? Right. But I am going to say, if you can increase your leads by your conversion by 5, 10, 15%, then you're good to go. All right. We good? We're going to book that in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Is there any questions before we wrap up on this one?
Oh, when's this thing finished?
Smart ass. Right now is the answer.
There you go.
Right now.
There
But
you-
seriously, any questions that I could answer for you guys? I usually do a Q&A at the end if there's anything you guys need to ask.
No, I got to get to another meeting, man. But thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
That's cool. All right. Have you got the link to book in?
Yep.
Sweet as. All right, guys. Thanks heaps for jumping on, and I will talk to you next time. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
see ya.
you. Bye.